It is exactly 2 minutes to the top of the hour here on Lookuptv. Welcome to The Insight on this 13th day of September 2023. The number 13 is synonymous because 1 year ago, President William Samoei Ruto took over the reins of power here in the country. 1 year later, what is the state of the nation? Has the cost of living gone down like President William Ruto promised during the campaigns or not? Of course, the president has been very vocal in regards to matters cost of living, saying the only way the cost of living will come down is through subsidizing production. And of course, there are things that the president has done like he promised, and some of the things he hasn't done yet, or he hasn't fulfilled yet. Remember yesterday, of course, a survey conducted by research firm Infotrack showed that 72% of Kenyans feel the country is headed in the wrong direction, with only 55% of Kenyans having confidence in the leadership of President William Samoei Ruto. Now, they say give credit where it's due. President William Ruto has achieved some of the things he promised, which include the rolling out of the Hustler Fund program, of course, the cheap fertilizer like he promised during the campaigns, and of course, restoring security, especially in the North Rift region. But he has fallen short of some of the promises that he made, which include the reducing of the cost of basic or common commodities, which many Kenyans continue to grapple with. Again, he promised to, of course, ensure the realization of the two-third gender rule, something that he is yet to fulfill. Now, what do you feel, or what do you make of President William Ruto's first 1 year in office? Has he, of course, met your expectations? Has he delivered on what he said? Or do you feel he has not met his or your expectations fully? Now, all that, of course, as President William Ruto marks 1 year in office, but among other stories that we've prepared for you, which includes the hearing of the Finance Act case, which went down today at the Milimani Law Courts here in the capital, Nairobi, as well as the PS for Education appearing before the National Assembly Education Committee to answer too many questions, of course, regarding the rolling out of the new university funding model and the payment of the HELB loan given to students across the country, campus students across the country. Now, welcome to the program. I am Ian Keitani. Our sign language interpreter is Josephine Uko. First of all, let's have a look at what's making headlines tonight.
Tonight on The Insight, the Ministry of Education and HELB clash over allocation of funds to institutions. Case challenging the implementation of the Finance Act 2023 begins at the Milimani Law Courts. And death and destruction. Over 5,000 people reported dead after floods wreaked havoc in Derna, Libya.
Remember, you can watch this particular bulletin live across all our social media platforms at Lookuptv on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as well. Now we kickstart our bulletin with matters education, and the Ministry of Education and the Higher Education Loans Board Authority are at odds over the allocation of funds to institutions. This comes after PS Beatrice Inyangala stated that the ministry had approved the allocation of funds to enable tertiary institutions run for the next 3 months as they wait for the official disbursement, with the HELB revealing that it has not released any funds to institutions or students. Stanley Lugaria sheds light on the funding puzzle.
The Higher Education Loans Board Chief Executive Officer Charles Ringera has revealed that the board is yet to allocate funds to students.
They are still following up with the ministry, who in retrospect they are following up with the Treasury for release of funds. As at now, we have not released any money to whether continuing students or the ones who are coming in for the first time.
Claims contradicting those of the Principal Secretary of the Ministry of Education, Dr. Beatrice Inyangala, who said the ministry has approved the provisional funds to help run activities of institution of higher education for the next 3 months, pending HELB's allocation to institutions and students in general.
A circular was written and communicated with the Vice Chancellors, and they did agree to admit the students unconditionally. But they requested for enhanced 3-month capitation so that they had some funds to help them keep operational while we were processing the funds for the first years.
This was realized during a joint meeting between health authorities, Education Ministry and stakeholders in the education sector, providing more clarification on the whole issue surrounding the funding of higher education before the National Parliament's Committee on Education. Additionally, two bills as presented by Member of Parliament Joyce Kamene intending to increase the grace period before starting the repayment plan of the loan from 2 to 5 years, as well as reducing the interest rate from 4 to 3%, met criticism, with HELB claiming that the changes will affect the board's performance in general.
With this kind of arrangement, they'll all be willing to pay because they have been given enough time and they are able to pay. They'll be able to pay at least after 5 years. There's no good reason why they'll not be able to pay after 5 years.
How much money will HELB lose if we actually went to 3%? We did a simulation of that, and it is one of our submissions, and we realized that in a year, if you drop by 1%, we'll lose about 1.8 billion.
Yes, 1.8.
It's about 1.8 billion that we'll be able to lose. Now, that affects our in terms of our funding, because that money is supposed to come and fund the next generation. Remember, when Parliament is passing the HELB budget, it also takes into account A&A. A&A comes from loan recoveries, so that there will be a disadvantage on the guys who are the students who are coming in to be funded by the loan recoveries component.
Ringera has confirmed that the distribution of money will reach the students according to their needs from the data collected for the first time using the MTI digital system.
We are using the MTI. MTI is actually a need test instrument which says what is your need level.
This process will end on 7th of October. As of now, we have 183,719 students who have successfully provided their information out of 265,000 students.
Charles Ringera, while appearing before the Education National Assembly Committee, has revealed that so far the ministry has not yet released funding for the tertiary education. This comes amidst uproar from the public and the tertiary education management that the funding has paralyzed learning across the institutions. Stanley Lugaria, Lookuptv, at the Parliament Building, Nairobi.
Thank you very much, Stanley Lugaria, for that particular story. Moving forward into the corridors of justice, and the High Court has started the hearing of a case seeking to stop the implementation of the controversial Finance Act 2023 that was filed by Busia Senator Okiya Omtata and a section of civil societies. A three-judge bench comprising of presiding Judge David Majanja, Christine Mioli, and Lawrence Will here and determine the case in what will be a landmark ruling. In that case, Okiya Omtata and the civil society groups want the Finance Act declared null and void for contravening the Constitution of Kenya. Henry Chende files the following story.
In a few weeks, the nation will know the fate of the controversial Finance Act 2023 after the High Court bench comprising of Judge Christine Meoli, Lawrence Mugambi and presided by Judge David Majanja began hearing the case filed by Busia Senator Okiya Omtata and a section of civil societies. In the case, Omtata wants the Finance Act thrown out on accounts it did not go through the Senate Assembly as the law requires, and that it imposes illegal taxes on Kenyans.
The failure to involve the Senate in the consideration of the budget estimates and the Appropriation Act violated Article 249 Clause 3, and that voided the entire budget making process, not just the finance bill, the estimates, the Appropriation Act, and anything that was done under the budget process in the 2023-2024 budget cycle.
Appearing for civil society, Senior Counsel Otiende Amolo wants the housing levy struck out on 5 grounds he argues go against the law.
That so-called housing levy is discriminatory insofar as it only targets common employees and employers. That runs counter to Article 27. And to the extent that it is a mandatory contribution, it amounts to servitude and offends Article 30.
Otiende's submissions receiving the backing of the Law Society of Kenya.
The lack of a framework law to anchor those changes that were introduced and the amendments done to the Employment Act and therefore violate the constitutional test with purpose and effect and brings to full uncertainty within the law.
On this account, the prosecution wants the finance law declared null and void.
We look forward to this court robustly examining the issues at hand without accepting the fear-mongering that you will hear from the respondents on the consequences of nullification of the act.
However, defense lawyers mounted a strong defense of the law, imploring the courts to dismiss the petition by the prosecution, saying if it is permitted, it will throw the country into chaos. The case continues tomorrow. Henry Tende, Lookuptv.
Of course, the Finance Act is one of the things on the center stage of President William Ruto's administration, him being 1 year into office, and Kenyans lamenting that the implementation of the Finance Act has made the cost of living to skyrocket even further. On to matters security, and Interior CS Kithure Kindiki has warned politicians in Lamu County against using matters insecurity to seek popularity. Now, speaking during the launch of Lamu East County Commissioner's Office, Kindiki promised that the national government will soon deploy more security operators in the region to tackle insecurity.
As securing Lamu County remains top of the government agenda, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki on Wednesday afternoon presided over the opening of the Deputy County Commissioner's office in the county. Kindiki sent a stern warning to leaders politicizing security matters or casually tackling security matters in the volatile area.
Naudhika wakati nasikia kuna baadhi yetu ambao wameanza tabia potofu na tabia isiyo ya kizalendo. Na sasa kuna watu pale kazi yao ni uchochezi. Asubuhi uchochezi, jioni uchochezi. Kwani uko na nchi yako tofauti?
The visit coming days after suspected militia attacked and killed officers. Kindiki assured residents that the government is on track in dealing with terrorism in the region. Kindiki urged locals to cooperate with security agencies in provision of vital information on criminal gangs and their activities.
Nataka kurudi hapa Lamu. Nitaanza hapa Lamu East tena. Nitakaa hapa siku 3. Nitaenda pale West Grade. Lakini hiyo safari itakuwa safari ya kiusalama. Ni safari ya kufunga ile nafasi tumeona na ile mianya tumeona imebakia, kuhakikisha hao magaidi tumewasafirisha wakaenda kule ambao wanapaswa kwenda. Na hiyo safari sio safari ya barabara ama ya mashua. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Mnaelewana?
The CS promised that the country will triumph in the fight against terrorism and violent extremism, saying that the government will equip security officers with modern equipments, construct roads and establish a cut line with clear demarcation, separating bony forest and human habitation.
Shinda ugaidi. Kwa sababu tukishinda ugaidi, uchumi wa Lamu County utainuka. A cut line and gazettes all the areas beyond that cut line as disturbed and dangerous areas, and no member of the public, for whatever reason, will be allowed to be found in those areas. Na mimi mwenyewe ndio nakuja kusupervise ujenzi wa hiyo barabara.
Aludagael, Lookuptv.
Moving forward, Capital Markets Authority has distanced itself from any responsibility in regulating cryptocurrency here in the country. Appearing before the Wildcoin Ad Hoc Committee to present a report on the legality of Wildcoin operations, the authority, however, stated that there is a need to pave way for technology to evolve and benefit the country. Mevin Getembe now reports.
I, Wycliffe Mchese Shemia, do swear that
as the probe to establish the legality of WorldCoin operations in the country continues, appeared before the Ad Hoc Committee, the CEO Wycliffe Shamia stated that it was neither their mandate nor their role to regulate cryptocurrency.
Just to say from number one, because we are not legally, of course, regulating cryptocurrencies, we haven't had that responsibility coming within our mandate. But Chair, because cryptocurrencies is a digital form of, medium of exchange, it will not be part of directly the securities which are defined within the Capital Markets Act.
The committee sought to know under what act the authority used to derive regulations, if Sandbox program was effective, and whether cryptocurrency is a legal way of exchanging currency.
Because number one, we had the DG of the Communication Authority here, and he also proposed a Sandbox solution that is more inclined to ICT, but also has a lot of component in terms of cryptocurrency and related technologies. I just want to know, in your view, and I'm sure you've had a look at some of the other regulations in similar markets outside the country, where you're faced with a situation of a foreign company wanting to be inducted into the regulatory sandbox within our country. Do you have within the regulation any clauses that speak to that, in specific to foreign companies, and what are they, so that we also have knowledge of the same?
The CEO noted that there is need to pave way for technology to evolve, saying that if legal framework and measures are put in place and followed accordingly, then WorldCoin can be of benefit to the country, especially in raising revenue.
Cryptocurrencies. So as you look at this, maybe it will be wider, because there are other assets other than cryptocurrencies. So I think maybe out of here we should have maybe now a policy which looks at the wider space, because there are players who will be in the other space of the crypto assets, or what we call digital, some call them virtual assets.
Revenue. The authority now says it will work closely with the committee to facilitate investigation into the matter. Mevin Getembe, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Excellent reporting by Mevin Getembe. Now, President William RUTO and Foreign and Diaspora Affairs CS Alfred Mutua have led the country in sending condolence messages to the state of Libya following catastrophic flash floods in the coastal city of Derna. As at noon today, other 5,000 people had lost their lives and 10,000 people reported missing. The floods were caused by a huge Mediterranean storm that burst dams. A statement by CS Mutua read in part, "These destructive floods reflect the effects of climate change, where African Union countries continue to face disproportionate burdens and risks from unpredictable weather events and patterns. We, therefore, stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Libya and all Kenyans at this time of profound national grief." Well, that particular story of, whatever is happening in Libya, quite a very sad story, with the thousands of people losing their lives, takes us to a fast break. Don't go away, because we'll be coming back to you with more news items on this particular bulletin.
Infinity Industrial Park is one of the largest private industrial parks located along Eastern Bypass, Nairobi, which provides modern infrastructure for smooth operations for industries and business enterprises. Infinity Industrial Park offers world-class amenities and facilities with wide roads, a police station, a power substation, fire station, public transport stage, hospital, and shopping mall. In addition, Infinity Industrial Park also offers CCTV cameras, 24-hour private armed security patrol, sewer, water, fiber optic cable, and 3-phase power connection, added to public utility, canteen, and dining areas. Sail on the golden opportunity to invest in Infinity Industrial Park fully serviced warehouses at a special price of 3,569 Kenyan shillings per square foot. For more inquiries, visit our website infinityindustrialpark.com.
Realize your home ownership dream by investing in Brookvale Tuala, a magnificent prime residential property located in Ongata, Rongai. Brookvale Tuala by Safaricom Investment Cooperative overlooks the majestic Ngong Hills and lies only 24 kilometers from Nairobi CBD. The project boasts of well-serviced plots with a perimeter wall, graded roads, and a borehole. 50 by 100 plots are going for 1.4 million shillings with a flexible payment plan of up to 6 months. To book your plot, call 0729 121212 today. Safaricom Investment Cooperative, the investment partner of choice.
Well, thank you very much for staying with us, and we continue with the land matters and the dispute of over 16,000 acres of Ngati Farm in Mayala, Naivasha, Nakuru County is expected to end after Naivasha MP Jen Kihara formed a 15-member committee to help resolve the case. Now, speaking at Mayala, the MP ruled out fresh subdivision of the land and noted that the dispute would be resolved this time round despite several attempts for over 40 years.
Lakini sana sana hapa kuna kuanga vita, na ndio hiyo group wamejifanya wako na groups ine, na hiyo groups hawakuwa wanaonana macho kwa macho, wako na shida. Ndio tukawaita ama nikawaita tukiwa na DCC wote, kikundi yote. Ilikuwa vita hata kuwashikanisha, lakini tuliweza kuwashikanisha, tukawaambia juu mnaongea mambo ya shamba moja inaitwa Ngati, na tunataka suluhisho, lazima mshikane. Hii kikundi lete mwakilishi wako, hii kikundi, tukawa na hiyo kamati ya watu 15. Kuna wale wanaongea mambo ya boundary, hii boundary ya counties, kuna wale kuna shamba imegawa, title imetoka, wanasema hawataki hiyo title. Kuna mtu alipewa title na akajenga na hawataki hiyo, anasema ifurushwe. So nikaona lazima tuende ofisi, ndio tukaketi na PS na officials wake, director wa survey na nani, ndio aelezwe what is possible. Sasa kitambo hiyo tungoje waziri akuje hapo katikati, ikawa threats. Chief ameandikiwa threat ya kwamba atauawa, na kwa sababu maafa imefanyika hapa, hata hapa kuna survey aliuawa akija kufanya kazi. Ndio tukasema wacha tuje tutangulie, tuambie hii timu walichagua, tumeenda tulifanya hivi, alafu naye DC aje address hiyo mambo ya insecurity.
Kuna mtu alikuwa anatisha chief kwamba ana haki ya kumuondoa uhai. Huyo mtu ametisha serikali yote. Hata chief ametisha, DC ametisha sisi wote. Sasa aanze na kwangu. Asianze kwa chief. Akuja aanze na mimi. na mimi kitu yangu haiko mbali, ndio hii tu, uanze nayo ndio ukujia chief.
40 years is such a long time to settle a land dispute. Moving forward, residents of Mbolori Trading Center in Siaya County held a peaceful demonstration following a 4-month blackout, blaming Kenya Power Company of neglect and failure to rectify the issue in time. Now, the residents are calling upon the government to address the power cut concern, which has led to huge losses.
Kwa majina naitwa Samuel, mimi ni mkaji wa Mbolori Market. Tunaomba Kenya Power itusaidie kwa ajili hatuna power. Center hii imekuwa na giza karibu kama miezi 4. Tunaomba Kenya Power itusaidie, tumekuwa na insecurity. Hakuna biashara ambayo inaendelea, ikifika saa 1 kila biashara imefungwa. Maduka zinaibwa, hakuna ile kitu inaweza ikaendelea, kila kitu imesimama. Kwa hivyo tunaomba kwa sauti ya upole, Kenya Power, tunaomba mtusaidie.
Mimi ni mkaji wa hapa Mbolori. Natumia hii stima. Hii stima ndio tunafanya naye biashara. Lakini sasa mwezi 4 na si mwezi 4 peke yake. Ikiletwa mwezi 3 ati inatoa mafuta, wanakuja wanaongoa. Mwezi 2 wanatoa mafuta, wanakuja wanaongoa. Kwa nini sisi tunatoa hii maya na sisi pia tunatoa ushuru kama wenzetu? Watoto wetu wanakufa kwa barabara sababu ya mulika ya stima. Hakuna kitu tunafanya sababu stima, kama hakuna stima ndio life. Power is life.
Wakituletea transformer mpya wanakuja wanatoa. Wanaleta transformer ambayo haiwezi fanya kazi. Tunaomba mtusaidie, tunataka usaidizi.
Mkaji wa hapa, tunataka stima hapa Mbolori kwa sababu nyinyi watu wa Power mnakujanga tu na mnaenda. Mkisaangalia na mnaenda tu, sasa sijui mnafanyanga nini. Na tunataka stima hapa Mbolori kwa sababu hatuwezi fanya biashara vizuri. Tunafunga saa 2, ikifika tunaenda nyumbani.
Now, police in Maralal have nabbed 4,000 litres of Kangara and 60 litres of Changa in an illicit brew crackdown in the region. Authorities and locals have been urged to work together in tackling drug and substance abuse in the region. Warimo Sike brings you this and more stories in the County Watch.
As the fight against illicit brew continues across the country, authorities in Maralal conducted an illicit brew crackdown in the region, impounding 4,000 litres of Kangara and 60 litres of Changa. The residents have been urged to work with the police in order to eradicate the use and sale of illicit brew in the area.
Here normal rates that we are carrying out the crackdown on illicit brews. Tumezunguka eneo hili letu la Maralal town, mahali kunaitwa Roikas. We managed to destroy total liters of Kangara amounting to 4,600, 60 liters of Changa, and other accompaniments zenye zinatengeneza hizi pombe. Sisi tumeamua hii eneo la Maralal tutafanya crackdown, ongoing crackdown kali kabisa, because we've been talking to these people, we've tried, na tunaona bado wanaendelea kupiga hii pombe.
In other news, in preparedness for the forthcoming El Nino rains, Kirinyaga County leaders have called on the government to set mitigation plans such as unclogging of drainage systems ahead of the much expected rains. The move is expected to curb effects of flooding and landslides in order to protect the residents' lives and their properties. Elsewhere, a section of Embu leaders have taken a swing at the opposition leader Raila Odinga for asking governors to oppose the construction and renovation of markets across the country.
Hasla apate mahali ya kufanyia biashara yake. Kufikiria sisi ni wanjinga kama ma-governors tukatae development kutoka kwa national government, unaota ndoto. Sisi tutakubali development ikuje huku kwetu, isaidie watu wetu, na wewe kwa sababu haujachaguliwa unyamaze kimya.
And finally, David Mwangi is the new chairman at Embakasi Ranching Company as he takes over the position after previous chairman James Njoroge passed away 2 weeks ago.
Nafanya juhudi ya kuhakikisha wanahiza wetu wote wamepata haki yao. Asanteni sana na washukuru wote washikadau.
Congratulations Mr. Mwangi.
Now Now, Kenya national football men's team Harambee Stars head coach Engin Firat says there's a lot that needs to be done or to change in Kenyan football for the national team to post consistent results. Harambee Stars, of course, lost 1-0 to South Sudan yesterday in a game that was played at the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani.
So I learned from this, and this is what I said to the boys directly after the game. I told them that that maybe God wants us also not to think that we are ready for everything, that we have still work to do. We could also win, but it would not change the subject that we have done a lot of mistakes. So for me, it's only one match more to learn. It's of course painful to lose at home, because I don't know when we will have again a home game. But I say in this point, better we have this unlucky day today than in any qualifier match. So that's the point.
Now on to matters athletics, and the National Olympic Committee of Kenya, that is NOC, has given 1.5 million shillings to the National Rugby Sevens team, Shujaa, to boost their preparation for their Rugby African Men's Tournament that will be held in Harare, Zimbabwe this weekend. The tournament will serve as a ticket to qualify for the Olympic Games 2024 that will be held in Paris, France.
We are ready and actually primed and ready to win in Harare. It's a transition time for Kenya Sevens. You can see the team that was named yesterday. We have got 6 debutants and 6 experienced players, but they're all young. So we're in a good place right now as Kenya Rugby Union. The team is in high spirits. They've been prepared really well. And these are the best players, the best 12 right now that we can put onto the pitch.
On behalf of the team, I would like to say a big thank you for the National Olympic Committee for trying to work with us through this journey to qualification towards the Paris Olympics. We are very confident with our preparations that we are going to qualify. Afterwards, we meet in Paris.
Well, that particular story of NOC handing over 1.5 million shillings to Kenya team Shujaa brings us to the end of this particular bulletin here on Lookuptv. Thank you very much for making time to be with us tonight, and to everybody who made this a success, from the producer Nilima to everybody behind the scenes. Thank you very much. From me, it is a goodbye. And like always, God bless.